There is an old story told by the scholars. A man once lived near a river. Every day he would go there, sit by the water, wash his hands, drink from it. It was part of his life. Familiar, comfortable, normal. One day, the river began to dry, slowly, not all at once. Day by day, the water lowered. The man became anxious. He returned again and again, hoping it would go back to how it was. But it didn't. The more he came back, the less it satisfied him. The water that once refreshed him now barely reached his hands. So he became frustrated. He said, "Why is this happening to me? This is the only river I know." So he stayed, holding on, forcing himself to keep returning, even when it no longer gave him what it once did. Until one day, an old man passed by. He looked at him and said something simple. "Why do you keep sitting at a river that Allah is drying for you?" The man was confused. He said, "But this is all I have." The old man replied, "No, this is all you are refusing to leave." Then he pointed behind him and said, "There is a river ahead of you. You have never seen, but you will never reach it if you keep returning to this one. My brother, my sister, sometimes Allah doesn't take things away from you suddenly. He lets them dry. He removes the feeling from them, so you stop drinking from what can no longer nourish you. But we don't understand. So we keep going back, forcing ourselves to stay connected to what Allah is slowly removing from our life. And we call it confusion. We call it loss. But it's not. It's guidance. Because if that old river stayed full, you would never move. You would never search. You would never discover what Allah has prepared ahead of you. So He makes it feel empty, not to punish you, but to redirect you. So, if you've been feeling that dryness, that emptiness in things that once fulfilled you, don't panic. Don't chase it. Don't force it back. Because maybe Allah is not taking something away from you. Maybe He is guiding you to something you haven't reached yet. What once made you feel alive now feels empty, and this shift is not accidental. It doesn't hit you during the day. It hits you late at night, when everything is quiet and there's nothing left to distract you. You go back to the same things that once made you feel something, the same apps, the same videos, the same routines. You expect the same feeling, but it doesn't come. You scroll, but your heart stays still. You laugh, but it feels forced. You stay, but something inside you is already gone. And a thought slips in. Why does this feel empty now? You try to ignore it. You tell yourself you're just tired, but it keeps happening again and again. And what confuses you the most is that nothing around you has changed. The same people, the same habits, the same environment, but you don't feel the same inside it anymore. Listen carefully. This is not boredom. This is detachment. Allah is not removing things from you yet. He's removing your attachment to them first. Because if those things still fulfilled you, you would never leave them. You would stay where it's easy, where it's comfortable, where nothing grows. So Allah changes how it feels. He takes away the sweetness, so you stop feeding your soul with something that no longer benefits you. And that emptiness you feel is not there to break you. It's there to wake you up. It's there to make you question, what am I really holding on to? Because sometimes we don't let go of things when we should. So Allah makes them feel heavy in our hands. So we finally release them. And this is how your next level begins. Not with a sudden change, but with a quiet loss of interest. in everything that was never meant to go with you. People you once couldn't live without now feel distant, and you don't know why. It doesn't start with an argument. It doesn't start with betrayal. It starts with a feeling, a quiet shift you can't fully explain. You sit with them, the same people you once laughed with for hours, the same people who knew your stories, the same people who made you feel understood. But now, something feels different. You're there physically, but your heart feels disconnected. The conversations feel lighter, but not in a good way. Surface level, repetitive, empty. You respond, but you're not fully present. You smile, but it doesn't reach inside. And, deep down, you feel it. That uncomfortable realization. Why don't I feel the same anymore? So you try to fix it. You talk more. You engage more. You try to bring back what used to be there. But the more you try, the more forced it feels. And that scares you, because you don't want to lose them. You don't want things to change. So you start blaming yourself. Maybe I'm overthinking. Maybe I've changed too much. Maybe I'm becoming distant. But listen carefully. Not every distance is your failure, and not every disconnection is something you need to fix. Sometimes it is something you need to understand, because Allah, in His wisdom, does not remove people from your life randomly, and He does not change your heart without purpose. Some people were part of your comfort, but they were never meant to be part of your growth. They fit your old mindset, your old habits, your old identity. But now, you are being prepared for something different, and not everyone can walk into that next version of you. So Allah doesn't always remove them suddenly. He doesn't always create a dramatic ending. Sometimes, He simply changes how you feel. So the attachment weakens. So the dependence fades. So you can let go without being shattered. And yes, it hurts, because these are people you once needed. But understand this clearly. You're not losing people. You're outgrowing spaces. And growth often feels like loss in the beginning, because your heart is being pulled in a new direction while your memories are still tied to the old one. But if you hold on too tightly, you delay what Allah is trying to do in your life. So don't force connections that no longer feel natural. Don't chase people just because they were once close. Because if Allah is creating distance, there is wisdom in that space. There is protection in that silence. And there is a version of you that cannot exist if everything stays the same. So trust this process, even if it feels confusing, even if it feels lonely. Because sometimes Allah removes you from certain people, not because they are bad, but because you are being prepared for a place they were never meant to reach with you. You start choosing silence over noise, even when you used to fear being alone. There was a time when silence felt uncomfortable. You couldn't sit with it. The moment things got quiet, you reached for something. Your phone, a conversation, a distraction, because being alone with your thoughts felt heavy, almost like something inside you might surface that you weren't ready to face. So you stayed surrounded by noise, by people, by constant movement, not because you always enjoyed it, but because it kept you from feeling too deeply. But now, something has changed. You find yourself sitting alone, and instead of rushing to escape it, you stay. You don't grab your phone immediately. You don't look for someone to talk to. You just sit there, in the quiet, and at first, it feels unfamiliar, almost strange. But then, it starts to feel peaceful, not perfect, not completely comfortable, but calmer than before. And slowly, You begin to notice things you never noticed. Your thoughts become clearer. Your emotions feel more real. You start reflecting on your life, your choices, your direction, and without planning it, without forcing it, your heart begins to turn toward Allah. You make a quiet dua, not because someone told you to, but because something inside you needs it. You remember Allah in moments you never used to, and it feels different, more sincere, more personal. Listen carefully. This is not loneliness. This is an invitation. Allah is creating space in your life so you can finally reconnect with what matters. Because when your life is full of noise, your heart has no room to speak. And when your heart is silent, you can't hear guidance. So Allah removes the noise, not all at once, but gradually, until you find yourself in moments of stillness that you didn't choose, but now you need. And that's where the shift begins. Because real growth doesn't happen when you are constantly distracted. It happens in silence. It happens when you are alone, not with emptiness, but with awareness, with reflection, with honesty. This is where you start seeing things clearly, things you ignored before, things you avoided, things you were too busy to face. And yes, sometimes it feels uncomfortable, because silence doesn't hide anything, it reveals. But that's exactly why it's necessary. Because Allah is not just separating you from people, He's separating you from the version of yourself that needed constant distraction to survive. He's teaching you how to sit with your own heart, how to understand it, how to guide it back to Him. So, if you've been choosing silence more than before, if you've been stepping away from noise, if you've been finding peace in moments you once feared, don't misunderstand it. This is not you becoming distant. This is you becoming aware. This is you becoming grounded. This is you being prepared. Because the person Allah is shaping you into doesn't need constant noise. They need clarity. And that clarity is being built in your silence. You feel a constant inner tension, like your old life is fighting your next level. It doesn't look dramatic from the outside. People see you, and everything seems normal. You're still there, still functioning, still moving through your day. But inside, there's a quiet tension that doesn't leave you, a pull you can't explain. Part of you wants to go back to what felt easy, familiar, predictable, the habits you understood, the people you didn't have to question, the version of life that didn't require so much from you. And for a moment, it feels tempting because it's comfortable. But then, another part of you speaks, quietly, firmly. You can't go back. And that's where the struggle begins. Because now, you're stuck between two worlds. You're not fully who you used to be, but you're not fully who you're becoming either. So nothing feels stable. Nothing feels certain. Even the things that once gave you clarity now feel confusing. You make a decision, then question it. You feel motivated, then suddenly drained. You want to move forward, but something keeps pulling you back. And it exhausts you, because it feels like you're fighting yourself. But listen carefully. You're not fighting yourself. You're witnessing a separation between your old identity and your new direction. And that separation is never peaceful, because your old self doesn't leave quietly. It reminds you of comfort, of ease, of who you used to be. It tries to pull you back into patterns that feel safe, but are no longer right for you. And your new self, the one Allah is shaping, is still growing, still forming, still learning how to stand, so you feel both at the same time. the pull backward and the push forward, and that tension in your chest, that restlessness you can't explain, is the space where transformation is happening. This is not confusion. This is transition, because when Allah wants to elevate you, He doesn't just upgrade your life instantly. He breaks what no longer fits. He reshapes your thinking. He rebuilds your habits. And that process feels uncomfortable because it requires you to let go of what once felt like you and step into something unfamiliar, something uncertain, something higher. So, if you feel like you're in between, like nothing fully makes sense anymore, like you don't even recognize yourself sometimes, don't panic. This is not you losing yourself. This is you being rebuilt, carefully, intentionally, by Allah. So don't rush this stage. Don't try to escape the tension, because this is where your strength is being formed. This is where your identity is being refined. And every time you choose growth over comfort, even when it's harder, you move one step further away from who you were, and one step closer to who you were meant to become. Doors you begged Allah to open suddenly close without warning or explanation. You remember how badly you wanted it. You didn't just wish for it, you made dua for it. Again and again. You thought about it late at night. You imagined how your life would change if it happened. You believed this was the step you needed. And for a moment, it felt close. Things started aligning. Opportunities appeared. You felt like, this is it. Like Allah was finally opening the door you had been waiting for. Then suddenly, everything stopped. The reply never came. The plan fell apart. The opportunity disappeared. The door closed, quietly, without explanation, and you were left there, trying to understand what just happened, because it didn't make sense. You weren't asking for something wrong. You weren't chasing something harmful. So why would Allah allow you to come this close, just to take it away? That question stays with you. It sits in your chest, heavy, confusing. But listen carefully. Not every door that opens in front of you is meant for you, and not every door that closes is a loss, because what you see is only the surface. You see the opportunity, but you don't see where it leads. You see the beginning, but you don't see the consequences. You see what you want, but you don't see what it might cost you. And Allah sees all of it, every path, every outcome, every hidden detail you could never imagine. So sometimes He lets you get close, not to tease you, not to hurt you, but to show you that even what you strongly desired is still under His control. Then He closes it, not because you weren't capable, not because you didn't deserve it, but because it wasn't written for you, or it wasn't written for you yet. And there's a difference, because sometimes you're ready for the door, but the door is not ready for you. And sometimes the door itself carries things that would have distracted you, delayed you, or even broken you in ways you're not prepared to handle. So Allah closes it, silently, without explaining everything, because if you saw the full picture, you wouldn't argue, you wouldn't question, you would thank Him for closing it. But right now, you don't see that, so it feels like loss. It feels like rejection. It feels like something was taken from you. But in reality, something was removed from your path. And there's a difference, because what is truly meant for you will never pass you by. And what passes you by was never meant to stay. So if you've been standing in front of closed doors, don't just ask, why was this taken from me? Ask yourself, what is Allah protecting me from? Because sometimes the greatest mercy in your life comes in the form of a door that never opened, and the life you are being guided toward requires certain paths to be blocked so you don't lose yourself before you ever arrive. Without realizing it, you keep turning back to Allah again and again. This is the sign most people overlook because it doesn't feel dramatic. It feels quiet, subtle, almost like it's happening in the background of your life. But if you pay attention, you'll notice it through everything you've been feeling: the distance, the confusion, the closed doors. You keep coming back, not perfectly, not consistently, but sincerely. You find yourself making dua, even when you don't know exactly what to say. Sometimes it's just a few words. Sometimes it's just a feeling in your chest. But you still turn to Allah. And that's new, because before, you only turned to Him when things went wrong, when you needed something, when you felt desperate. But now, you turn to Him even in quiet moments. Moments no one sees. Moments you didn't plan. You sit alone, and His name crosses your mind. You hear something, and it reminds you of Him. You feel something, and you instinctively raise your hands, and you don't even question it. It just happens. Listen carefully. That pull you feel is not something you created. It's something Allah placed inside you. Because when Allah wants to elevate you, He doesn't just change your surroundings. He changes your direction. He brings your heart back to Him, gently, repeatedly, until it becomes natural, until turning to Him is no longer something you force, but something you rely on. And yes, you will still struggle. There will be days when you feel distant, days when your focus isn't there, days when you fall back into old habits. But even then, you come back, and that return is everything. Because the goal was never perfection. The goal was connection. And every time you return, no matter how many times you've drifted, you are strengthening that connection. You are proving something to yourself. And, more importantly, you are responding to the call Allah placed in your heart. Because if Allah didn't want you near Him, you wouldn't even think about Him. You wouldn't feel that pull. You wouldn't care. But you do. And that's your sign. So don't ignore it. Don't treat it as something small. Because this is the real transformation. Not the external changes. Not the people leaving. Not the doors closing. But the fact that through all of it, your heart keeps finding its way back to Allah. Again and again and again. So, if you've been feeling this return, this quiet pull toward something deeper, don't resist it. Don't delay it. Lean into it. Because maybe Allah is not just separating you from your old life. He is bringing you closer to Himself. And that closeness is the highest level you could ever reach. Everything else you lost, everything that changed, everything that felt confusing, was only preparing you for this. A heart that knows where to go. No matter how lost it once felt, you start seeing through what once distracted you, and it no longer has power over you. It doesn't happen all at once. There's no sudden moment where everything becomes clear. It happens slowly, quietly, almost without you realizing it. The things that once pulled you in don't feel the same anymore. The same distractions, the same habits, the same environments. They're still there. Nothing about them has changed, but your perspective has. You look at them now, and something feels different. You don't feel pulled the same way. You don't feel controlled by them. You see them for what they are: temporary, shallow, limited, and that realization feels strange, because these are the same things that once had so much power over you, things you couldn't walk away from, things you kept going back to, even when you knew they weren't good for you. But now, there's a pause, a gap between the urge and your action. You feel the pull, but you don't immediately respond. You notice it, you question it, and sometimes you walk away. And that's new, that's different, because before there was no space, just reaction, just habit, just repetition. But now there's awareness, and that awareness changes everything. Because once you see something clearly, it loses its control over you. And that clarity is not coming from you alone. It's something Allah is placing inside you. Because when Allah wants to elevate you, He doesn't just remove distractions from your life. He changes how you see them. So even if they are still around you, they no longer affect you the same way. And this is powerful, because it means your growth is becoming internal, not dependent on your environment, not dependent on people changing, but rooted inside you. And yes, there will still be moments where you slip, moments where you fall back, moments where old habits feel strong again. But even in those moments, it's not the same, because now you're aware. Now you feel the difference. Now you recognize what's pulling you away and what's pulling you closer to Allah. And that awareness is your protection. It creates a barrier inside you, a quiet resistance, a reminder that you are no longer the same person. So, if you've been noticing this shift, this ability to step back, to see things clearly, to not be controlled the way you once were, don't take it lightly. This is not random. This is refinement. Allah is training your heart, teaching it discipline, teaching it clarity, teaching it how to choose what's right, even when what's wrong is still available. And this is how real strength is built, not by removing every temptation from your life, but by giving you the ability to rise above it. So understand this. You're not just being separated from your old life, you're being strengthened against it. So even if it appears again, even if it tries to pull you back, it will not have the same power, because you're no longer seeing it with the same eyes. And that is how you know you are truly changing.